Good afternoon, students. Good afternoon, students. We are going to discuss biofertilizers today. Now, all of you know what are fertilizers. Fertilizers are what? Okay, if you look at chemical fertilizers, they are the chemicals that are added to soil to improve soil fertility and hence to improve the production capacity of the plant. Now, chemical fertilizers have been used for so many years and they are detrimental to the soil. They deteriorate the quality of soil. They damage the topsoil layer. The nutritive, you can say, value of the soil is somewhat deteriorated. And day after day or year after year or season after season, we have to add more and more chemical fertilizer to the soil to improve the crop production. And that is why an alternative or a substitute, a partial substitute, at least for today, a partial substitute, a day may come when we'll completely substitute chemical fertilizers by biofertilizer. So a substitute to the chemical fertilizer is a biofertilizer. Now, what is a biofertilizer? A biofertilizer is a substance which contains living microorganisms. Okay. Biofertilizer is a substance which contains living microorganisms. What kind of living microorganism? They may be bacteria, they may be fungi, okay? And we can say bacteria in the sense nitrogen fixing bacteria, okay? Phosphate solubilizing bacteria, etc. Then fungi again, phosphate solubilizing, phosphate mobilizing, okay? So microorganisms like algae, fungi, then bacteria can be used as biofertilizer. So biofertilizer is a substance which contains living microorganisms like algae, bacteria, fungi, which when applied to seeds or plant surfaces or soil, colonizes the rhizosphere of the root or the interior of the plant and promote plant growth by increasing the supply of nutrients or availability of nutrients to the host plant. Okay, so a biofertilizer contains living organisms which is applied to either seed or plant or soil. When it is applied, it colonizes the rhizospheric area of the root or it enters inside the plant root and promotes the plant growth by making the by supplying the nutrients or by making the nutrients from the soil available to the plant. Okay. So biofertilizers add nutrients through the natural processes. What kind of natural processes? Nitrogen fixation, phosphate solubilization, phosphate mobilization, or stimulating plant growth through synthesis of various plant growth promoting substances like auxins or gibberellins, etc. Okay. Now, what is a biofertilizer? Biofertilizers are natural fertilizers that are microbial inoculants of algae, bacteria, fungi, either separately or in combination. Most of the time separate, which may help biological nitrogen fixation for the benefit of the plant. They also help in building up the soil microflora and thereby improve the soil health. And biofertilizer also includes organic fertilizers, manures, humus, compost, cow dung compost, okay, vermicompost, etc. Use of biofertilizer is recommended for improving soil fertility in organic farming. Why we felt the need of biofertilizer? First, because the increase in use of chemical fertilizer, okay, because why do we need biofertilizer? Because it increases, because increase in the use of fertilizer leads to increased crop productivity. Secondly, because increased usage of chemical fertilizer leads to damage in soil texture and raises other environmental problems. That is why we should prefer biofertilizer. Therefore, the use of biofertilizer is both economical and eco-friendly. Okay, so nowadays we have built up a system, okay, where integrated procedures are followed. Like even in pest management, we integrated pest management is practiced. Even in applying the fertilizer, an integrated system may be involved, which makes use of combination of chemical as well as biofertilizer. That is reducing the use of chemical fertilizer in any way. Okay. So what is the role of a biofertilizer? It makes availability of nutrients to the plant, makes the root rhizosphere more lively, Biofertilizers are microbes which produce growth promoting substance. They help in root proliferation, better germination. They improve the quality and quantity of produce. They improve fertilizer using efficiency of plant. They make your plant biotic and abiotic stress tolerant. They improve the soil health. Okay, and most of the biofertilizers remain in soil and help the building up of soil and hence plant growth also. Make the system more sustainable. Okay, again, as we know now that biofertilizers don't pollute your environment, they're not toxic, and various bacteria like phosphobacteria, azospirillum, rhizobium increase resistance, disease resistance and drought resistance of crop. They produce growth promoting substances like indole acetic acid, biotin, vitamin B that catalyzes the growth of crop and hence improves yield. They're cheaper than chemical fertilizers. Okay, like say for example, this is old data, but maybe they're cheaper. Okay, they increase the plant yield by 50 to 20%. Okay, biofertilizers can be used for paddy fields, pulses, food grains, vegetables, coconut, sunflower, and so many other plants also. We can classify them as nitrogen fixing biofertilizer, okay, or nitrogen fixing bacteria, which includes rhizobium, azotobacter, azospirillum mainly. Then azolla fern, okay, azolla is a fern, it's okay, and this azolla fern contains Anabaena name, a cyanobacteria or a blue-green algae named as Anabaena azole in its leaf and hence carries out nitrogen fixation. So it can be used as a biofertilizer. Then apart from bacteria, nitrogen fixing blue-green algae or cyanobacteria can also be used as biofertilizers like Anabaena, Nostoc, Dolichopteris, etc. Then phosphate solubilizing bacteria and phosphate solubilizing fungi. Okay, or all in all, phosphate solubilizing microorganisms can be used as biofertilizers. Then phosphate mobilizing, can say microbes like mycorrhizae, vesicular arbuscular mycorrhizae. There are other types of mycorrhizae also, endomycorrhizae, ectomycorrhizae. Vesicular arbuscular mycorrhizae can be used as a biofertilizer. Then we can also use certain microorganisms which bring about the which make available certain micronutrients, okay, to the which will promote plant growth like zinc or silicon. Okay, they also can be used as biofertilizers. So what are the classification or types of biofertilizers? Number one, nitrogen fixing biofertilizers. Number two, phosphate solubilizing biofertilizers, which includes phosphate solubilizing bacteria as well as fungi. Number three, phosphate mobilizing biofertilizers, especially mycorrhizae, VAM, vesicular arbuscular mycorrhizae, and biofertilizers, microbes as biofertilizers, which will supply micronutrients which are critical for the growth of the plant like zinc or silicon, potassium, like that, or organic fertilizers. Okay, so nitrogen fixing biofertilizers may be symbiotic nitrogen fixing organisms or non-symbiotic nitrogen fixing organisms. Symbiotic like rhizobium, bradyrhizobium, azolla. Okay, then others are azotobacter, azospirillum, cyanobacteria, clostridia, etc. Phosphate solubilizing biofertilizers includes phosphate solubilizing bacteria as well as fungi. Bacteria like bacillus, thiobacillus, then flavobacterium, pseudomonas, etc. And phosphate solubilizing fungi like penicillium, okay, aspergillus. Then phosphorus mobilizing biofertilizers like mycorrhizae, ectomycorrhizae, endomycorrhizae like vesicular arbuscular mycorrhizae. Biofertilizers which will supply micronutrients like zinc mobilizing bacteria, azospirillum, pseudomonas, agrobacterium. Potassium mobilizers, Fraturia. Then silicate mobilizers, various bacillus species. Other than that, we can use green manure, we can use organic fertilizers, which includes microbes, plant, animal waste, okay, cow dung, urine, garbage, etc. All leftover legume plants and all in the field can be converted into compost, okay, and can be used as biofertilizer. Now let us look at nitrogen fixing biofertilizer. Now nitrogen is the major nutrient for all plants. These biofertilizers contain bacteria which fix atmospheric nitrogen. Okay, nitrogen is the major nutrient for plant, right? And these biofertilizers, nitrogen fixing biofertilizers, contain bacteria which fix atmospheric nitrogen. Why do these bacteria fix atmospheric nitrogen? Because they contain a unique gene called as NIF gene, which makes them capable of fixing atmospheric nitrogen. What do we mean when we say the organisms fix atmospheric nitrogen? What does it mean? That the organism fixes atmospheric nitrogen means the N2 gas that is present in abundance in the atmosphere cannot be utilized by plant as a source of nitrogen, because they cannot break the triple bond between the two nitrogen atoms, right? So it's quite inert and plant cannot utilize the nitrogen gas. Now, what do these microorganisms do? Nitrogen fixing organisms, what do? They convert the N2 gas into nitrates or nitrites or maybe ammonia and make it available to the plants. Okay, they convert the nitrogen gas into the form like nitrates, which can be utilized by plant. So what do these nitrogen fixing organisms do? They make the utilizable nitrogen like nitrates, available to their plant, and that is why we call them nitrogen fixing organisms. Now, the nitrogen fixing bacteria, if you look at, they can be either symbiotic nitrogen fixing bacteria or non-symbiotic or free living nitrogen fixing bacteria. Okay, when we say symbiotic nitrogen fixing organism or bacteria, what does it mean? They form a close association with their plant partner. Okay, for example, symbiotic nitrogen fixing bacteria like Rhizobium, it forms root nodules on the root hairs of the leguminous plant. Okay, symbiotic nitrogen fixing bacteria like Rhizobium species forms root nodules on the roots of legume plant, right? And when it is present inside the root nodules, it will carry out nitrogen fixation. How Rhizobia is benefited? Rhizobium is benefited in the sense that it gets shelter, food, nutrition from the plant partner. And how the plant is benefited from Rhizobium? Rhizobium fixes atmospheric nitrogen and makes it available to its plant partner. Okay, that is symbiotic. And the other one is non-symbiotic, means free living nitrogen fixing bacteria. These bacteria live freely in the soil. They may not form any association with the plant, live freely in soil, but fix atmospheric nitrogen, making it available to the plants. So if you look at symbiotic nitrogen fixing organism, we can classify, we can give examples like Rhizobium, one. Number two, Bradyrhizobium. Brady in the sense the slow growing Rhizobia. Bradyrhizobia means slow growing Rhizobia. Okay. Rhizobium lives in the root hairs of the legume plant by forming root nodules. You can see in this diagram, pink root nodules are there. Plant roots supply essential minerals and newly synthesized substances to the bacteria, give food and shelter to the bacteria. Rhizobium fixes atmospheric nitrogen and makes it available to its plant partner. Okay, the name Rhizobium was established by Frank in the year 1889. Rhizobium biofertilizer are available in the market as carrier-based powder and liquid formulation. Okay, and these Rhizobium biofertilizers can be supplied to the, you can say, farmers so that they can be added to the field. Where do we use Rhizobium biofertilizer? It is used for leguminous plants like groundnut, black gram, green gram, red gram, all Bengal gram, mustard, etc. It leads to better nodule formation and hence more nitrogen fixation. Okay, and the new classification, like I told, there are two, Rhizobium and Bradyrhizobium. Okay, the slow growing one is Bradyrhizobium, and Rhizobium can fix 50 to 300 kg of nitrogen per hectare. You can see the Rhizobium biofertilizer looks like this. Okay, so Rhizobium, being a symbiotic nitrogen fixing bacteria, can be directly added to the plants like groundnut, black gram or green gram, etc. And the bacteria, because it is already present along with the in the soil or as a coating on the seed, it will be available to the plant partner. Okay. Now, one thing we need to remember here is Rhizobium species is very specific for its plant partner. One Rhizobium species will not form. Okay. Say, for example, we have Rhizobium meliloti, Rhizobium, you can say lupini, Rhizobium japonicum. So this species, a particular species, is very specific for its plant partner. Like one Rhizobium species forming root nodules on groundnut may not form root nodules on mustard seeds, like that. So while selecting the Rhizobium biofertilizer, we have to be very specific about their specificity towards their plant partner. That is to be kept in mind. Now the next one is, next nitrogen fixing bacteria is Azospirillum. Azospirillum is an associative nitrogen fixing bacteria. Now, nitrogen fixing bacteria, these nitrogen fixing bacteria actually lives in loose association with the roots. Okay, they are not in, like rhizobium lives inside the root nodules formed on the roots of the plant. It infects the roots, forms the root nodules. It's not like that. Rhizospirillum is an associative nitrogen fixing bacteria, means it lives in loose association with its plant partner, the roots of the plant partner, and then carries out nitrogen fixation, most of the time found in cereal plants. It inhabits the root cells as well as the surrounding of the root. It forms a partial, you can say, associative nitrogen associative relation with the plant and increases its nitrogen fixing potential. Azospirillum also produces, along with fixing nitrogen from the atmosphere and giving it to the plant partner, Azospirillum also produces growth promoting substance like indole acetic acid, gibberellins, pantothenic acid, thymine, niacin, and promotes root proliferation. Not only shoot the green foliage of a plant is important, but the healthy root growth or root proliferation is equally important for plant produce, because roots actually suck the nutrients present in the soil. So this results in increased plant growth yield. Okay, so Azospirillum secretes various growth promoting substances, promotes root proliferation, and hence ultimately results in increased yield of the plant. Now, it increases the rootlet density and root branching, resulting in increased uptake of water and minerals. Azospirillum biofertilizers are used for various crops like millets or oil seeds of fruits, vegetables, sugarcane, banana, coconut, lime, coffee, tea, etc. The next type of bacteria, nitrogen fixing bacteria used as biofertilizer, is Azotobacter. Azotobacter is a free living nitrogen fixing bacteria present mostly in the soil and brings about nitrogen fixation. Irrespective of what plants are present and all, it lives freely in soil and carries out nitrogen fixation. It is a heterotrophic bacteria, heterotrophic free living nitrogen fixing bacteria. Apart from its ability to fix atmospheric nitrogen, it also synthesizes growth promoting substance like auxins and gibberellins, and to some extent vitamins, making it available to its plant partner. Okay, not plant partner, making it available in the soil so that plants can use it. Now, many strains of Azotobacter also exhibit fungicidal properties against certain fungus species. Okay, so it can protect the plants because it secretes fungicidal property. The fungi, you can say the pathogenic fungi will not be present in the vicinity, okay, in that particular area, and hence the plant will be protected from fungal diseases. Okay, now good response of Azotobacter biofertilizer has been seen in rice, maize, cotton, sugarcane, millets, vegetables. Okay, it improves seed germination as well as plant growth. Okay. Now, it is said that Azotobacter is the heaviest breathing organism and requires large amount of organic carbon for its growth. So while we are producing the Azotobacter biofertilizer, we have to be very careful that the carrier material should have high organic content so that the organism survives in the carrier material until it is used as a biofertilizer. Now, the next is again the second type, that is fungi that are used as biofertilizers. Okay, rather I would say mycorrhizae. Now, what do we mean by the term mycorrhizae? The term mycorrhizae was taken from Greek language meaning fungus root, myco meaning fungus, rhiza meaning root. So it is fungus root, that means, and the term mycorrhizae was first coined by Frank in the year 1885. So what is mycorrhizae? It's a mutual symbiotic association between fungus and plant root. Rather, we can say fungal mycelia and plant root. So it's a symbiotic association between fungi and plant root. What do the plant root gets? Plant root fungus absorbs all kind of nutrients from the soil and makes it available to the plant. Like for example, insoluble phosphorus present in the soil is solubilized by the fungi and the plant can now use it. Otherwise, insoluble phosphorus cannot be used by plants. So all the insoluble, inactive nutrients present in the soils are solubilized and made available to the plant partner. Okay. At the same time, fungal mycelia, if they coat the seed, coat the root, the root may not spread to a large distance, but the fungal mycelia spreads to a large distance and brings distant nutrients to the plant. Okay. So the nutrient absorbing capacity, the mineral absorption, water holding capacity of the plant is greatly improved. Okay. There are certain fungi which also secrete antibiotics and protect the plant from, you can say, bacterial diseases as well as fungal diseases, because it secretes fungicides also. Okay. And then they make the plant tolerant to stress, tolerant to drought, tolerant to various adverse environmental conditions. That is how a fungus helps its plant partner in many ways, especially mycorrhiza fungus. Okay. And what do the fungus get in turn? The fungus in turn gets food, organic carbon from its plant partner. Okay. And the best known mycorrhizae is vesicular arbuscular mycorrhizae that can be used as a fertilizer. Vesicular arbuscular mycorrhizae, also called AM fungi, arbuscular mycorrhizae, is an endotrophic, or you can say endomycorrhizae, formed by aseptate Phycomycetes fungi. Okay. Now the hyphae of vesicular arbuscular mycorrhizae are aseptate. Okay, that means there is no partition wall in between the hyphae. Okay, there is no division of the hyphae into cells. So aseptate hyphae, it is mycorrhizae, lives inside the root of plant. VAM helps in nutrient transfer, mainly phosphorus, zinc, and sulfur to its plant partner. Mycorrhizae is a symbiotic association between plant root and soil fungus. Of the 7 types of mycorrhizae, out of the 7 types of mycorrhizae, VAM plays a great role in inducing plant growth. Okay, there are 7 different types of mycorrhizae, like ectomycorrhizae, endomycorrhizae, ectendomycorrhizae. In the endomycorrhizae, we mainly classify VAM. Then we have orchid, arbutoid, monotripoid, ericoid. So many different types of mycorrhizae are there. Ecto means what? The mycorrhizae forms a sheath or a mantle on the surface of the root and do not penetrate deep. Penetrate inside the root, but not deeply. Endomycorrhizae are those which penetrate deep inside the root cells. Okay. VAM plays a great role in inducing plant growth. VAM are symbiotic endophytic soil fungi which colonize the root of approximately 80% of the plant have VAM fungi. The VAM hyphae also helps in retaining moisture around the root zone of plant. It increases the resistance of plant to root-borne or soil-borne pathogens and nematodes. What do they do else? They also mobilize different nutrients. Okay. And mobilize it, bring it from the soil, give it to the plant partner, like copper, potassium, aluminum, manganese, iron, magnesium from the soil to the plant root partner. Now, as the name suggests, vesicular arbuscular mycorrhizae contain arbuscules and vesicles, external hyphae to bring distant nutrients inside. Okay. They possess vesicles. Vesicles are sac-like structure. Okay, you can see here. Vesicles are sac-like structure which store nutrient, especially phospholipids. And arbuscules are like root system, rootlet kind of a system. Okay, so arbuscules are a link between, you can say, exchange of nutrients. Okay, so the VAM forms an association with plant root. It penetrates in the root cortex and spreads around the plant root of the plant also. At the same time, they possess sac-like structure called vesicles, which store phosphorus as well as especially phospholipid. They are like oil storage granules, which will be utilized during the time of starvation. The other structures are called as arbuscule, which help bringing distant nutrient to the vesicles and the root. Okay. So that is about, you can say, fungal biofertilizer. Next is algae as biofertilizer. Now, another group of free-living nitrogen-fixing bacteria are cyanobacteria. Okay, free-living nitrogen-fixing bacteria like cyanobacteria. They are commonly called as blue-green algae. There are so many species of blue-green algae which can fix atmospheric nitrogen. And how do they fix atmospheric nitrogen? Because due to the presence of specialized cells in their chain, that is heterocyst. So heterocysts are the cells especially responsible for nitrogen fixation as far as blue-green algae are concerned. They are most commonly found in the rice fields. Okay, unlike Azotobacter, blue-green algae are not inhabited by the presence of chemical. They are not inhibited by the presence of chemical fertilizer. So even if you spray the chemical fertilizer in the soil, blue-green algae will remain. Okay. If we do not add any chemical fertilizer to the soil and inoculate only the algae, it will result in 10 to 14% increase in crop yield. Maybe by research it has been found. Again, blue-green algae are easy to produce, easy to grow. Usually they are mass produced in cement tanks filled with fresh water. They do not require any kind of processing. They're very cheap. Okay. The cost of 10 kg may be very less. Like in today's scenario, it may be like 100 rupees and all. Beneficial in certain crops like vegetables, cotton, sugarcane. Some algae which can be used as biofertilizers are Anabina, nostoc, oscillatoria, Tolipothrix, so many. Okay. Now in this diagram, you can see some large cells. Okay. Some cells which are larger in size. So they are actually, most of them are heterocysts, which are the site of nitrogen fixation. Okay. Now, Azolla as a biofertilizer. Azolla is a fern. Actually, Azolla is a aquatic fern. It is a plant which can be used as nitrogen fixing biofertilizer. Why? Azolla is a tiny freshwater fern, common in ponds, ditches, and rice field. It has been used as a biofertilizer for rice in major rice growing countries like India, Thailand, Brazil, etc. The nitrogen fixing work by Azolla is accomplished by a symbiotic relationship between the fern Azolla and blue-green algae, Anabina azole. That means, though Azolla is a plant, though Azolla is a fern, a blue-green algae named as Anabina lives inside the root of the fern. This is the fern plant, Azolla. Okay, and the blue-green algae, the cyanobacteria, named as Anabina azole, lives inside the okay, it resides, you can say habitat of Anabina is inside the leaves of Azolla fern, and hence the leaves itself will serve as a biofertilizer because Anabina azole, a nitrogen fixing cyanobacteria, is present inside the leaves of the Azolla fern, and when Anabina alga is present inside the leaves of the Azolla fern, it will carry out nitrogen fixation. So the Azolla leaves itself serves as a biofertilizer. In addition to fixation of nitrogen, decomposed Azolla fern plant can provide potassium, phosphorus, zinc, iron to the crop. Azolla biomass get doubles within 5 to 7 days by vegetative method. It can fix 40 to 80 kg nitrogen per hectare per year. It is a good manure for flooded rice. Increase of crop yield by 15 to 20% has been observed when rice was grown with Azolla. Okay, tolerant to heat, cold. Okay, and fix 4 to 5% more nitrogen. So that is all about nitrogen fixing biofertilizers. And one we discussed about mycorrhizae phosphate solubilizing bacteria. The rest of the biofertilizer we will discuss in the next lecture along with the production of biofertilizer. Okay.